The Secrets of Pine Needle Cottage. Marla and Thorn stood in front of the old wooden cabin. It was hidden deep in the forest, surrounded by tall green trees and the smell of fresh pine. "We are finally here," Marla said, holding a heavy iron key. Thorn looked at the dusty windows and the overgrown grass. "It looks smaller than I remember," he laughed, but he was excited to be away from the noisy city. They stepped inside, and the floorboards groaned under their boots. Dust danced in the sunlight streaming through the windows. Marla walked into the small kitchen and touched the old stove. "If we had more time and some bright paint, I would make this room look beautiful," she said. Thorn nodded and added, "And I would build a big wooden deck outside so we could watch the stars at night." Thorn walked to the corner of the living room and noticed a dark spot on the ceiling. Suddenly, a drop of water fell on his nose. "Oh no," he sighed. The roof was leaking. He tried to push a heavy wooden table under the leak to catch the water, but the table was stuck to the floor. He pulled with all his strength, but it didn't move an inch. Suddenly, there was a loud knock, knock, knock at the front door. Both of them froze. Marla walked slowly to the door, wondering who could be visiting them so far away from the town. She turned the handle and opened the door just a crack. A tall man in a bright flannel shirt and a cap was standing there, holding a toolbox. The man tipped his hat and gave them a big, friendly grin. He looked at Marla's surprised face and decided to tell a joke to make her feel comfortable. "Well, hello there. You must be the new owners," he said with a wink. "So what can I do you for?" Marla blinked, then she started to laugh at his funny, backwards way of speaking. "I am Otis, your neighbor from down the hill," the man explained. He saw the puddle on the floor, and his expression became more helpful. He spoke more clearly this time. "Seriously though, what can I do for you? It looks like you have a bit of a plumbing problem or a hole in the roof." Thorn came over to the door, feeling relieved that they weren't alone. Otis didn't wait for an answer. He went to his truck and brought back a long ladder. Marla helped him carry a heavy box of nails and a roll of waterproof tape. "If my grandfather were here, he would be very happy to see you, Otis," Marla said as they worked. Otis laughed and told them stories about the forest while he climbed the ladder. After an hour of hard work, the roof was finally fixed. Thorn and Marla sat on the porch steps, exhausted but happy. The sun was starting to set, turning the sky into a beautiful mix of orange and pink. The forest was quiet, except for the sound of a distant owl. The cabin felt much more like a home now. Otis sat down on a tree stump near Thorn and shared a bottle of cold water. "If I were young like you," Otis said, looking at the trees, "I would spend every single weekend out here. The air is clean, and there are no computers to bother you." Thorn smiled and agreed. He realized that a simple life in the woods was exactly what he needed. As night fell, Marla and Thorn stood together near the door, looking at the silhouette of the cabin against the moon. "It's going to be a great summer," Marla whispered. They knew there was still a lot of work to do, but with a little help and a lot of imagination, Pine Needle Cottage was the perfect place to be.